This time in MediaCentral UX, we're going to take a look at some editing features with iNews and Interplay. So you can see here I have access to my Interplay database at the top and my iNews database at the bottom. In the middle I have my rundown and story area, then I have the media pane, and at the bottom the sequence pane for doing some editing. I'm also going to open an audio pane for some audio work later. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a story. So I can just right click on the rundown and select create story, and then I'm going to give it a name and type in some text. In the story I can write everything in one of these boxes that are called segments. So that's what I'm going to do just now. Control and S just saves that particular story to the iNews database. Here on the left hand side, I'm now going to go into my Interplay database and I'm going to find some video to use. In order to view any of the rushes here, all I have to do is double click and that will launch it into the media player, and then I can play the clip back. Now I'm ready to do some editing. Now the first thing is to create a sequence. You can actually automate the creation of a sequence, but I've turned this option off right now. So here I'm going to go ahead and click the Create Sequence button, and then what you'll see in the timeline view is that in the timeline pane, the sequence will have the same name as the name of your story. Now I'm going to double click on a clip, and that launches into my browser in what's called asset mode. These are my rushes. So I can play the clip back, I can use the keyboard to do this, or I can use the under monitor controls. L will play on the keyboard, K will pause, and J will run the clip backwards. And you can do fast forward and fast reverse as well. So let's just go forward a little into the clip. Then I'm going to use I on the keyboard to mark an in point, then O on the keyboard to mark an out point. Again, you could use the under monitor controls to do the same thing. It's personal preference. Once I'm happy, I'm going to add this shot to my timeline by just dragging and dropping. When you add the very first shot in, what it does is it creates the sequence in the Interplay database and saves the first shot. Now obviously I'm not just limited to taking everything from this one piece of rushes. In the media player I can switch between asset mode to show me the rushes and output mode to show me the sequence. Here in the folder I want to use this shot, so I can spin through it, choose what I want from here, and then drag and drop it into the timeline. In the timeline itself I can trim shots to make them longer or shorter, and I can do this again using the mouse or by using keyboard shortcuts. As well as trimming, one of the other things I can also do is that I can move shots around in the timeline. Now I'm going to record my voiceover. I can either record this as an audio clip or I can record it straight to the timeline. Here I'm going to record it straight to the timeline. Once I've got some clips in the timeline, I would also want to review the audio, so I can just pull up the audio pane and then I can adjust the levels on the tracks individually, or I can use the master fader to adjust the levels across all of the tracks. Depending on your workflow, you could now take your sequence and send it straight to a playout server, or you could easily pick it up in Media Composer for additional finishing. So that's how to write your story, add some text, and then do some basic editing with audio in MediaCentral UX.